biggest thing is recognizing what is important to you, what is vital for you, and then planning your life around that. I believe it's vital, especially for us that lead people and that are expected to run at a high demand most of the time, that we take that time of, no electronics, disconnect. I thought I was running at full speed, but you don't really know that until you truly invest in yourself to see what full speed looks like.
Welcome to this edition of The Balanced CEO. I've got my buddy Corey here with me. We're here in Nashville, Tennessee, talking the Balanced CEO lifestyle, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Excited to be on here, and thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you in to Two Brain? How did you end up here in Tinker?
Oh, perfect. So I opened my gym in 2012. I started the business in 2007, but didn't get a brick and mortar until 12.
Okay.
And really what got me into Two Brain was coming out of COVID. We were thriving heading into it. Coming out of COVID, our numbers were down. We kind of realized, or I had the realization that what got us to where we were before COVID wasn't going to take us to where I wanted to go afterwards. So that really drove me to find Two Brain to basically reinvent our gym, change what we were doing. And then from there, balancing my work at the gym, also my two charities that I'm heavily involved in, and wanting to grow as a person kind of drove me to want to invest in Tinker and kind of go to that level. And then that's opened up avenues of mentoring, investing, and other things that have kind of taken me to the next level.
That's amazing, man. I think a lot of us fell into that pit at the pandemic where the entire market shifted. And I don't think people realize that they weren't in the gym industry at the time. From the front end, from the customers facing part of it, it didn't really change much.
No.
But on the back end of the business side, everything changed. Like it was almost a 180 in terms of what worked and didn't work.
From the marketing aspect to expenses, everything transformed. And even my coaches, like the lifestyle they wanted pre-COVID and post was drastically different. And changed of how I needed to lead them, how I needed to serve them.
Yeah, I felt like it was just, we joined Two Brain in 2021, and it was the same thing where we kind of climbed ourselves out of the gutter. We were down to like maybe $8,000 a month in recurring revenue in like August 2020. And by the time we got back into Two Brain, we were in the 20s. But it was like, I knew we were kind of hitting the ceiling of what my current knowledge base and like systems were going to get us to. And I realized that if we were going to survive the full growth back to where we needed to be, we needed we needed to revamp our systems, our operations, everything. So
that's how we were. Not only the revamping of systems and service offerings and just structure as a whole, but like, I don't know, it felt like through the pandemic, it became more of a realization of kind of that entrepreneurship on an island by yourself, and just having a mentor, having others that have gone to battle it the same way was massive for me.
Yeah, I've had a mentor since 2016. I'd gone through a handful of I would say people with notoriety in the industry. But in the end, I was like, I'd always dance around Two Brain. I danced around, gotten Chris's emails, read his book.
That's how I was for about 8 years.
Yeah, it was about 4 years, 5 years, 16 or 17. I started reading his stuff and danced around it for years, and then finally took the leap. I was like, I can't do it. This is what I need. I need to stop pretending I don't.
Yeah, I think I had that for, ever since Chris launched it from, his CrossFit days. It was, I followed him, but I can do this on my own. I don't need that. And then, I think it was the end of 21 when I joined in. So it kind of came to that point of I could flutter where we were at and maybe get by, but it wasn't going to provide. And I was tired of the lifestyle of 14, 15-hour days. Like, how can I take us to the next level and do it while giving myself the freedom to do the things I really want to do?
Yeah. That's amazing, man. I want to talk about, because there's something that really interested me that you brought up was your charitable organizations. So are these things you started yourself, or are these ones you've attached yourself to?
Both of them I've attached to. So it actually was perfect timing. The one I'm probably most heavily involved in. So Brace for Impact, I help them with their fundraising efforts. Lift for Life, I'm on the board of with more of a leadership role. But Brace for Impact was the first one. I got introduced to them in 2019. Actually went to Haiti to see the organization in action. I always say, like, literally right before the world shut down. We got back into the States at the end of February. The world shut down early March. And for me, I actually think it was the best thing that could have happened to me. That seeing the low of the low heading into COVID just shifted my mindset that, during a rough time, gave me a different light on everything.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about what you guys do with Brace for Impact.
Yep.
And is that the one that kind of revolves around orphanages and?
Yeah. So Brace for Impact started, so it's founded by Kyle McClellan. He was a pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals. And so it's a small non-for-profit that started out of St. Louis. They have a Haiti branch. They also have a North St. Louis branch because he wanted to impact locally also. But really we support, in Haiti, we support a board. And that board is on the ground. They know what is needed in that community. But we have an orphanage where we take care of 42 kids every day of the year. From there, we have a school that now has over 700 kids that we provide an education to. We provide teachers' careers, custodians' careers. And then we have a hospital that now is one of the few that's even open. And it's the only one in Haiti that does not require you to pay before you get service. That's why their mortality rate is so high, is because people can't afford to go to a hospital. And we see over, I think right now we're up to like 12 to 1,500 people per month that we service at the hospital.
Wow.
So our mission is to change the kids. So that's who we evolve around. And we don't allow our kids to be adopted. So our goal is that we give them the tools to now go out into the community, be the change down there. And in 50 or 100 years, can Haiti be a better community, a better country, and start to be thriving at that point?
That's incredible. And it is true. You have to change it a generation.
Yep.
You have to go back a generation to change things.
Yeah, we can't change the 60, 70-year-olds that are down there. But when we talk to our kids, like, they want to be doctors, they want to be lawyers. And part of that is because of the board. So our board is made up of 5 people that were all orphans in Haiti.
Wow. Okay.
So now one's the head of our doctor, one runs a church. Like, they're all leaders in the community. And so our kids worship those people, and they see that, you can be an orphan and now be a doctor, and you can be these different things. And that's who drives it for us. And we just support them. And same thing in North St. Louis. We provide people a better outcome, give them the tools. We like to look at what our work is we're not giving a gift, we're extending a hand to lift them up.
That's amazing. I love that. That's such a great way to put it. And it's such commendable work.
Thank you.
Kudos to you, man. I know that's a huge sacrifice that, it's probably a lot more time than it sounds. It's
a great experience. It's helped make the culture of our gym. My last trip down was in 2023 before the Civil War broke out. My wife went. I've taken 2 coaches down now. And then they are now fully bought in. They see it in action. And it leads to the event we run annually that actually just raised $50,000.
Wow.
Last month that we ran.
That's incredible. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. So it's a 24-hour workout event. We work out every hour for 24 hours.
Wow.
We now have 10 gyms around the country that host it for us. And we raised just under $52,000.
That's incredible.
Last month. So that'll go down to Haiti and hopefully make a massive impact.
I'm sure it will.
Yep.
So tell me more about how you balance all this. Because you got your wife, you got dogs, you've got a gym, you've got these philanthropic things you get going on. How do you manage to balance all these things and find the time to still have your fitness a priority, your diet a priority? Like, it's a lot going on. It's a lot of juggling.
Yeah. Really, it comes down to, and this is what I have a massive passion of working people with, is just prioritizing. So I always feel you can have, 3 to 4 buckets that you're prioritizing.
Right.
My family always comes first. My businesses and my professional always come second. And then from there, my fitness is a priority because that allows me to be a better leader, to be a better mentor for my mentees, to be a better, husband and family member. So I think the main thing is prioritizing because I know the benefit of all of it that comes in. And then from there, it's just being strategic with all my time. Like you and I were talking about earlier, everybody's given the same amount of time, but a lot of people just don't allocate where they need to allocate. So I'm diligent with, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays are focused on my gym. Tuesday, Thursdays are focused on my mentoring. And I literally block in about 2 hours a day. So I'm big on getting in my workouts. I attend classes at my gym or work with one of my coaches. And I also pencil in an hour a day for what I call a recharge block. I believe it's vital, especially for us that lead people and that are expected to run at a high demand most of the time, that we take that time of, no electronics, disconnect. I do it by walking. I'll go walk for an hour every day. Other people do it by running or by meditation, whatever gives you your fix for that. I think that not only is it a physical activity for me by walking, but it's as much mental as physical and vital for me.
I'd agree. My hour walk is generally a mental flush.
Yep.
Do you do headphones or anything, or is that just completely you? And
I would say it varies. Sometimes I will listen to, it's never work related. So I'm a big Arsenal fan in Europe. So sometimes I'll listen to a podcast from them.
Yeah.
It's just my chance to turn off and go. Or I'll put on some old country and listen to that. But there's also times there's a park by the gym. So I'll go no headphones, just walk. But the main thing is, to the best of my ability, don't think about the work that has to be done. Don't think about the fires that may be popping up. Because if I can fully disconnect, same thing with my workout, that hour is to disconnect. If I can fully disconnect on those, not only does it allow me to be more productive, but it also keeps me stronger, healthier, which also gives me energy to be as best as I can.
I love that idea, and it does ring true. And I think Arsenal, I just seen something where they have a sensory room at their stadium.
Yeah.
So they were able to stop a kid with autism from leaving the stadium.
Yep.
And they brought him up to the sensory room and he had a great time.
Yeah, a lot of the European soccer are starting to add that in. They have their quiet zones where they wear headphones.
Yep.
But they also have rooms that people can kind of disconnect to. And, and we need the same thing. We need that ability to disconnect, turn the noise off so that we are able to run at our highest ability level.
Yeah, I tell my staff all the time, I have to have that me time so that when the bat light goes off and it goes up in the sky and they need me to go put a fire out or come in and save the day or whatever's going on, like I have that charge to handle it. I'm not burnt out and stressed out and just snapping at people.
Well, I'm sure you're similar and you can look back. Like I know early on in my gym days or owning a business, like I felt that was invincible, no matter how tired I was, I could put that fire out. I could be my best. But now like truly feeling, because I let my fitness, I neglected it, not fully, but not as best as I could for years. And now that I'm running on, allocating that time to work out, to get my walks in for the mental side, like now I'm 10x or 100x my ability to lead, my ability to problem solve. And I guess I just didn't realize it when I was in the mud, like how foggy my vision was, and that was a massive hurdle that could have, caused some of the issues we had going. Yeah. But I thought, I was running at full speed, but you don't really know that until you truly invest in yourself to see what full speed looks like. Yeah.
And I think part of that was like when you first open your business or you buy a business, you have it in your head that's expected you're going to work 16 hours a day. You're going to grind. It's
like a badge of honor.
Yeah. And you get a couple years in and you realize this is terrible.
Yep.
Like this is not sustainable. I'm a monster when I'm at home because I'm always stressed out and tired. I'm a monster at work. No one wants to be around you. And ultimately, like you're not happy. I don't care how much money's coming in. That can't fulfill there's just disconnect that you feel every day because you're just literally grinding to the bone.
Yeah. And that's even a check-in I do now often of like, am I the best husband I can be, the best son I can be? Because all of those things suffer the most. My fitness suffers when I don't find that balance of, yes, I need to be fully invested in my work. And that is a priority because that's what feeds myself, feeds my lifestyle I want. But I also need to be checking in. Am I doing it at a sacrifice of being a husband? Am I doing it at a sacrifice of my fitness to make sure I keep all of those in balance and in check? Because ultimately, like you said, making more money is great, but if I'm not healthy, happy, is it even worth it?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the way I built the triangle of strength is if you look at it from a pyramid standpoint, health is at the bottom.
Yep.
Because if you don't have your health, you can't be a good parent. You can't be a good husband. You're not going to be a supportive person in your family.
No.
If you don't have your family, what the hell does the money matter if you have no one to share it with? Because they've all left, right? Your wife's divorced you. Your kids don't want to talk to you because you weren't around as they were growing up. They don't have a relationship with you, but you got all this money and you got success. It's like, is that really success if you have no one to share it with?
Well, I think the biggest eye opener for me was when we did, the vivid vision of laying out 3-5 years in the future. Like my wife and I, our vision is to travel a big majority of the year, to live, see the world, live the life we want. And not only, do I want to do that with her, but also like, I want to have the health and fitness to be able to do those things. Like what does it matter when I'm in my mid 60s, if I'm, disease ridden and have no family, but I have the money, like none of it's worth it.
There's no one to share memories with.
No.
And, the money is great to create bigger, greater memories. But if you don't have anyone to share those memories with, they're just going to go with you to the grave. And that's not.
Yeah. And I think the other big thing, and I talk with a lot of my other gym owners that I mentor of like, I think we get in our mind that the day will come when I can enjoy the work I've put in.
Right.
But like, how long are we going to chase that before we start enjoying life? Like, we need to be at a point in our businesses where we, take the time to enjoy our successes while still growing. And I think finding that balance was massive for me.
Dude, that's amazing. John, clip that shit. That's nailed it. Like, I think that's the number one thing about the balanced CEO. And what I'm trying to get across is I don't care how old you are. I don't care how much work you have or haven't put in, what clout you've earned or haven't earned. Yep. There's an opportunity every day to grow a little bit closer to that perfect day.
Yep.
And you don't need to be living your perfect day 7 days a week to create memories, take time away, enjoy life, go out to really cool dinners on the 34th floor of a hotel building, and have a great time with people, like, and share experiences. I think people let life just kind of pass them by waiting for everything to be perfect. The same way people wait to join say across a gym until they're in shape. And, that's the whole point is like, you're going there to get in shape, not go somewhere else to get in shape and then go over there. You're not doing this business to one day, well, when I make $1 million, then I can take time off. It's like, no, if you're making money now, spend some of that money on making memories with your family. Spend some of that money donating to amazing organizations. Like, do things that fill your cup now.
Yeah, because as entrepreneurs, we're never going to be at the finish line.
Nope.
And we just keep pushing that goalpost further and further until, and this is where I've been fortunate to, talk to very successful entrepreneurs that are in their 60s and 70s. And, their biggest regret was, and they are very, very wealthy, but like their biggest regret is they never enjoyed it. And now they have health issues. They're not as agile as they once were. And, they're not enjoying it to the max. Where I think all of them would have sacrificed some of that earnings to enjoy life and to make those memories and experiences, because we could all be gone tomorrow and then none of it means anything.
Jan Martell wrote that book, Buy Back Your Time.
Yep.
And I always tell people there's a caveat to that. You could buy back your future, but you can't buy back your past.
Yep.
So when you're buying back your time, you're buying back allocations of time in the future.
Yep.
But everything you've let go by, there's no amount of money in the world that will allow you to reverse that.
Nope.
So you need to just start today, even if it's 20 minutes, and find that 20 minutes of me time.
Yep. Well, that's even like my wife and I, we have weekly meetings, and it's, okay, right now we recognize the chapter we're in. Like maybe it is a time we need to work a little harder to invest in different areas, but we still need to, on our calendars, we'll sit down and, okay, this is our block of, we're going to do XYZ for a couple hours on this day, or we're going to take Like right before we met here in Nashville, we took 4 days to go sit in the woods, go hiking. Like that was intentional because we need to make sure we're prioritizing that and maximizing that even while we're still growing our businesses, still growing our wealth. Like we still need to be enjoying that, enjoying each other.
Yeah, that's, and that's what I talk about the triangle, right? Triangles can be so many different shapes.
Yep.
I mean, you can have a short side and 2 long sides. You can have kind of different angles. But the whole idea is even if you're looking at like an isosceles triangle, that's a one short side and the other, it's like 40%, 40%, 20%. And your diet and health is 20%. Because you're just fully focused on your family and you're in a season where the business needs you a lot. So you're just kind of sacrificing gym time, or maybe you're sacrificing your diet a little bit, gaining a few pounds. As long as you haven't completely taken your focus off, you're still getting in 20, 30 minutes of fitness. You're not being a complete glutton. You're still maintaining that structure that can support stress. It can support any of the millions of curveballs life will throw at you at any moment.
Yeah. And I think it's vital that as entrepreneurs and, we take an inventory so we know where we're at in that journey. Like, yes, we're going to be intentional and focus a little more here. We know it'll pull away from another aspect of that triangle, but down the road, we're going to, balance things out. Or maybe we'll, I go through phases where when certain aspects are bigger stressors, like my fitness isn't a top priority, but living a healthy lifestyle is always an underlying priority.
Right.
But down the road, I might get to a phase where, okay, I have more time. I'll focus more on this because I don't need so much attention on the gym or so much attention on mentoring or something like that. But I think for me at least, it's vital that I inventory where I'm at and I recognize where I'm at so I don't get that mental burden of, I'm letting myself down here or there, because then that can just snowball also.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And I always tell people, like, I know it's very rare you're going to live in a season where it's a perfect 90-degree triangle.
Yeah.
Where everything is like just equally allotted and you're just kind of in a perfect phase of life. When you get them, enjoy them to the fullest because it's going to change real quick. Like it's like something's coming. But that's why I love the triangle, because it's like, right now my diet has not been a big focus because I've just been so deep in other things. But I know when it's time to shift that triangle again, a 40% of my allocation has to be diet. I have to get that rebalance, and something else is going to take a backseat, probably business. Right? Because I rarely like to take away from family. So,
and even when you make that shift, you still have the underlining skills that your nutrition isn't complete garbage. Your fitness isn't complete garbage. Just like when you make the shift, your business isn't going to fall to shambles.
No.
Like we've put in the work, we have the base skills that allow us to make those adjustments and bigger focuses on certain areas.
Yeah, it's just putting more focus on the staff that I've worked really hard to develop to take the reins. And all right, guys, you're going to push it forward now. It might only push forward a few inches at a time rather than a few feet when I'm pushing. But the fact of the matter is it's still pushing forward. It's still doing what it needs to do. I have to put my attention elsewhere for a while.
Yeah. And you recognize that and you're accepting of that. Like, now I'm going to focus on this, and the gym's still going to grow, or the business is still going to grow, and just maybe not at the same speed. But again, you've recognized it, you honor that, and then you go from there.
Exactly. As a mentor, and I know you've been a Two Brain mentor for a little while now. What's a commonality that you find that is something people, like pretty much across the board, everyone can do better when they're first joining mentorship? Like if you're going to talk to someone that is not a Two Brain client, and maybe they're not even interested in joining Two Brain, what's a commonality that you would be like, hey, this is the first thing I'd look at if I were you?
Ooh, that's there's so many things that overlap. I would say the biggest, like if we're looking at overall skills, would be develop and invest in your leadership skills. That's where most people lag, and it's going to be, a domino effect to affect other areas. Even I was asked the other day if I could tell myself, I was 23 when I started my gym, tell the 23-year-old what to do more of or what to invest in first. A would be getting a mentor, but B would be invest more time, money, energy into my leadership skills.
That's a solid answer, because you know what? It's just like sales. When I was in sales, it was always the best salesman that got the management position.
Yep.
But that didn't always equate to that person knew how to lead people. They were just really good at selling. And that's two different things. And I think in the gym industry, your best coaches are the ones that become owners.
Yep.
Not because they're a good business person, but they were a great coach.
Yeah.
And that doesn't translate. Like, you have to learn how to be a great leader. You have to learn how to run a business. Like, there's a whole back end of it that you're not really thinking about when you're a 23-year-old overzealous kid that's a great coach. And it's like, well, I can just turn this coaching thing into my own thing and be my own boss. And then boom, you get slapped with the reality that, yeah, well, you have to lead people now.
Yeah. Well, and that's always the, it's either a speed bump or a roadblock for all the gyms I work with. If, especially as they start, we work hard on gyms to build out their systems, to, build out a value ladder so they can begin replacing themselves.
Yep.
But you're just going to be in a hamster wheel constantly replacing if you don't have the skills to set people up for success with expectations and with like a role of what it needs to look like, and then have the leadership skills to help them develop, to hold them responsible and to take them to that next level. Because, my gym, your gym's probably the same. Like, we're hiring younger people that need the time and the investment on being taught what to do, and they're eager. And I've seen a lot of, even my own experience, where I have failed people because I didn't lead them, and then they end up leaving, or you have to replace them. So yeah, that's the biggest area. If we could all do, and that carries over to other businesses and other industries. Yeah. Like, we all fall to our ability to lead and direct the way.
And I completely agree. And I think it creates so many festering wounds that become like open sores when you don't take things on from a leadership standpoint early on, because you're afraid of the response, or you overthink how bad it's going to be. And then you just kind of leave it, maybe it'll fix itself. And then no, what it does is it just keeps getting worse and worse until either you lose a great talent that could have stuck around if you had just been more clear about expectations early on, or you create a situation where the person sticks around and just creates havoc.
Yeah. When I look back at early coaches that I've lost, or that have, I've had to let go, or we just parted ways, and it's like, I didn't set expectations, so there was no way to measure or to hold them accountable.
Right.
And then when they were dropping the ball, like, it'll just get better because I don't want to have that uncomfortable conversation, or in my head I play out that, addressing what's relatively minor situation is going to blow up and turn into this huge argument, this huge fight. Like, when really, if I was just proactive and set expectations, held them to that, and had those conversations early, it would have saved tons of time and money, energy of hiring new, replacing new. And yeah, that'd be definitely one I could redo.
Yeah, I think we all could. I think so many of us, we walk in thinking, well, I own it, so everybody has to do what I tell them. And that's not the truth. Like, people need to be bought into the decisions you make. They have to be bought into the vision you have. They have to, not only that, you have to be able to lead by example. You have to be able to show people what you want and how you want it done.
When I know I struggled with this, and even if I think of some of my mentees that have grown the most, we expect people to come in and just know how to do things because we knew how to do it. Or we expect them to do it the proper way, or the way we do it because that's how we knew it. And it's just not reality that it's going to happen that way.
No. And yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is like, you expect people to read your mind. That's early.
I know I did.
Beginning leaders always expect, I'll show them once and they'll just get it because it came easy to me. I don't understand why it's not easy to them. And what you realize is everyone has their own skill sets and their own tools and their own experiences and things they've learned and haven't learned. And so communication is the greatest tool that you can learn, I think. If you even go deeper than leadership, I think communication, learning how to communicate properly.
To every staff is going to respond differently.
Every person is going to have their own way of receiving.
Like, I have some coaches that are just be blunt, and that's all I need. And they'll be blunt back to me. And other coaches need a little, hand holding or finesse. And I think I've definitely failed in that area. Once you bring that up of, well, I'll just talk to everybody the same or treat everybody the same. And that's not what works.
No. Compliment sandwiches are great, but some people don't like sandwiches. They just want to be told, what do I need to fix? And other people, need that compliment sandwich. They need that, hey, you're doing this great, but hey, can you tweak this really good? But you know what? Also, you're doing this great. And they're like, oh, I feel good. Okay. I'm doing more things right than I'm doing wrong. I'll fix that one thing, you know. But other people want to just be like, hey, dude, you royally screwed that up. This is what we need to do differently. Got it. And they're on, right? So.
Yeah, and I think and as a leader, like, we have to be able to identify that and, you know, live and learn too. Admit when you messed up and grow from that.
I remember I sent out workplace love language tests to my staff, and they're like, this is really weird. Why are you doing this? Like, this seems uncomfortable. And I'm like, yeah, it's uncomfortable because I need to know how you communicate. Yeah. I need to know if I walk up to you because you did something great and I hand you a gift card to like your favorite store, and gifts is like 3% of your love language, you're going to wipe your ass with that. Yeah. But if I walk up to you and you're a quality time person, I go, hey, I'm going to take you to lunch as a thank you, that's going to fill your cup. Oh, yeah. You know, versus someone who's a gift giving type of person. I walk up with a gift card. If I walk up and say, let's go to lunch, you're going to be like, oh God, I got to go spend time with someone. Yeah. But if I walk up with a gift card to that same place, you're going to be like, yeah, all right, I feel appreciated. So, or if you have the staff that doesn't like to be the center of attention and you call them out in the middle of a large group to compliment them, and it's going to say, you watch the panic set in real quick, and then it's now you just got the reverse. Now they're not going to ever work to hit those achievements again. Yeah. How can I just never live up to expectations ever again? So that'll never happen again. Yep. So that's why, like, I always tell people communication and leadership are hand in hand. Yep. If you're not a good communicator, you better fix that first. And then secondly, dig into leadership, dig into how to lead by example, how to get people to buy into your vision. Like you said, if you have a vivid vision, that's awesome. But if no one wants to go there with you, it's just a vision. Yeah. No, I always look back at like great coaches I've had, or even like great coaches that are, because I'm a big sports guy. Like there's coaches we've probably all had that we'll run through a wall for. And then there's coaches that I could give two shits what I do for them. And I relate the same thing to business. Like I want to be there for my team and want them to want to take the ball and run with it. And it's up to me to lay that vision, give them the guidance and the accountability, and then also to know when to stand back and let them go, and to be there when they fail. Because again, that's just part of learning. And yeah, absolutely. I need to let them experience it and then help them learn from that. So let's wrap this up and put a nice bow on it. If you were going to talk to someone today and give them one piece of advice to help them kind of dial their life, if they say they're a little bit out of control, they feel like they just don't have a grip on things, what's a piece of advice you'd give them to? I think the biggest thing is recognizing what is important to you, what is vital for you, and then planning your life around that, eliminating, like even I had to eliminate other noises in my life so that I could focus on my business, my health, my relationships, but really hone in on what is important. Don't be afraid to say no to people, because I think that's the biggest thing is I've done it. We take on too much, then we can't invest in ourselves. And we sacrifice everything. Really hone in, find what's important to you, and then plan your days and life around that, so you can invest in all aspects and be the best version of yourself. Yeah, and to clarify, if you're brand new and you're just starting your business, or you're a brand new gym owner, or early on, you probably aren't saying no to much because you need all the opportunities possible to build your business. However, the goal should be to earn the right to say no. Yep. Right. But even when you're early on, like I wish I would have invested, while I thought I was too busy to do stuff, looking back, I could have taken 30 to 60 minutes to get a recharge block in, to get a workout in. And would that have paid dividends in my business and in my growth? Insane dividends. Like that's and it's funny because, we're health and fitness professionals, but I was in the worst shape of my life the first 5 years of owning a business because I neglected that. And as I look back, I didn't have energy because of that. I didn't have the mental clarity because of that. And all my skills suffered because I didn't want to allocate much needed time to invest in myself because I thought it was selfish and taking away from the business, when really it would have been one of the best investments I could have made in myself and the business. You heard it here first. Filter your priorities. Don't be afraid to say no, even if you're new. And ultimately, those three priorities, your health, your family, and your business, they have to kind of be in harmony.
Yep.
They don't always, they're not going to, they're rarely going to be balanced in the way that we think of the word balance. But harmony, if you can keep them harmonized so that they're all working together, you'll be amazed at how fast your momentum will get.
Yeah. And just being, like you said, coming back to communication, like communicating that with your spouse and your family so they know where you're at.
Yep.
So, hey, I'm going to be a little less invested here because I'm going to be more in the business, or it's a hard time because you need the support system there also.
Yep.
So it's vital to communicate that and then have them there to support you and be there for you.
Right on, man. Corey, I really appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, sir.
Absolutely. And as always, keep digging in.